Hello everyone, and welcome to this writing lesson. An opinion paragraph is a type of short argumentative text that writers use to state their beliefs. The best opinion paragraphs make the author's beliefs clear and back them up with solid reasoning, because they are based on opinion and not on inarguable facts. A good opinion paragraph can still leave room for different points of view. To write an opinion paragraph, you will need to determine your subject first. After that, plan out your reasoning using writing strategies. When you're asked to write an opinion paragraph, you'll be given a prompt. First, brainstorm ideas about the prompt or topic. Make sure these are concepts that can be argued, not facts that everyone agrees on. For example, a bad opinion paragraph would argue that the sky is blue. Well, this is a fact. Everyone knows that the sky is blue. There is nothing to argue about with the sky is blue. Now, a good opinion paragraph, on the other hand, might argue that kids should learn how to drive earlier so they can take themselves to school. On this matter, you can obviously make some arguments. Your writing will get much better if you learn how to use an opinion writing graphic organizer. Any opinion writing graphic organizer will look relatively the same. Fill them in with the Oreo writing strategy. The Oreo writing strategy will help you write a well-balanced opinion text. Oreo stands for opinion, reasoning, explanation, or exemplification and opinion. To fill in the organizer, state your opinion in the first box. Now, in the next box, as you can see, give reasons why your opinion is true. In the following box, use 2 sentences to explain your reasoning. Explanations present ideas so that anyone can understand them. Now, if you need to present more than one reason, add 2 more boxes to write another reason plus the explanation for that reason. Finally, complete your paragraph by restating your opinion. Don't write it exactly the same way. Write it with fresh phrasing instead, so your reader can better understand your point. As with any writing, be sure to look over your work and correct any errors in spelling and grammar that you see. Sometimes it is hard to see your own mistakes, so ask a friend to read your paragraph for you. You can even talk about your paragraph after they read it. If your opinion was not convincing, you might consider revising your reasoning and explanation until your friend understands your point. Let's look at some guidelines for writing an opinion paragraph. Now, begin with a topic sentence rather, that clearly states your topic and opinion about this topic. First, you need to decide if you are for or against the idea. Then, brainstorm ideas to support your opinion. Provide strong reasons that explain your opinion. You should give details that explain each reason. Include facts and examples. Let the audience hear your voice. Tell them how you really feel. Finally, you should restate your opinion and sum up your ideas in the last sentence. So here's a question. What is the difference between facts and opinions? Opinions are statements that come from a person's beliefs or thought about something. Expressions such as, I believe, I think that, or in my opinion, are used to express your opinion. Opinions are different from facts. Your opinions may or may not be approved by other people, while they couldn't deny facts, because facts are true statements that don't come from someone's thoughts. Look at these example sentences so you can understand the difference between opinions and facts better. Let's look at some facts first. The sun rises in the east. This lake's temperature is under 10 degrees. Based on the police reports, it is dangerous to use cell phones while driving. It was forbidden for women to vote in the United States until 1920. And Mr. Vance said, I am a bad father. Now look at some opinions. Check out these examples. The sunrise was beautiful this morning. The lake is too cold for swimming. Using a cell phone while driving is dangerous. Everyone should have the right to vote. And finally, Mr. Vance is a bad father. These are some sentences of facts and opinions. Even the last sentence, Mr. Vance said, "I am a bad father," is a fact. The sentence is in the form of the fact that he, or Mr. Vance, said something about himself, although what he said, which was, "I am a bad father," is an opinion. When you write an opinion paragraph, you can write about something in your mind, but it will give a stronger reason for people to believe it if you add some facts that will support your opinion. Let's read a model opinion paragraph. Now, while we read this paragraph together, find the topic and concluding sentences. Notice the reasons and the facts the writer gives to support their opinion. Let's read it together now. Bruce Lee, the greatest action movie star of all time, should be given a Lifetime Achievement Award for his work in the movies. Bruce Lee died tragically in 1973, so he wouldn't be able to receive the award himself, but his fans would love to see him honored. Why was Bruce Lee so great? The fight scenes in his movies were amazing because Bruce was always in top physical condition. His body was almost perfect. He was also a great actor. Since he started acting when he was just 6 years old, he was very comfortable and natural in front of the camera. His face was very expressive. As a result, he was able to communicate a lot of feeling with his simple look. Bruce always looked good on film because he was so charming. He was a talented actor and a brilliant fighter and an almost perfect example of physical fitness. Therefore, he ought to receive an award that recognizes his great contribution to the art of filmmaking. Let's take a look at the topic for this paragraph and see how it was outlined before it was written. The topic is, Bruce Lee is known as one of the best action movie actors throughout history. Some people believe he should be recognized for his work. What is your opinion? Give reasons to support your answer. So, as you know, we need a topic sentence that includes the topic and our opinion, and then a bunch of supporting ideas plus the concluding sentence. For the topic sentence, as I said, we need to have the topic reworded and then add our opinion. So here's the topic sentence. Bruce Lee, the greatest action movie star of all time, should be given a Lifetime Achievement Award for his work in the movies. Now that we have the topic sentence, we need to come up with as many ideas as we can to answer this question. Why should Bruce Lee be given an award? Or, to make it a bit simpler, why was Bruce Lee so great? Now we need to write down all the ideas we can think of. By looking at the topic sentence, it would seem illogical for someone dead to receive an award. So, we would want to start with this idea first. He can't receive the award himself, but his fans would like to see him honored. And now, let's think about why he was so great. The ideas would be, he had amazing fight scenes, top physical condition, an almost perfect body, a great actor. He was comfortable and natural in front of the camera, had an expressive face, communicated a lot of feeling with a simple look. He looked good on film. He was charming, brilliant, and a perfect example of physical fitness. Oh, and we know 2 facts about him, which we could include in our outline. He started acting at age 6, and he died in 1973. For our concluding sentence, we need a rewarded version of the topic sentence. So the idea is, he should receive an award for his contribution to filmmaking. And to make this sentence into a complex sentence, we could rewrite it again like this. He ought to receive an award that recognizes his great contribution to the art of filmmaking. Now let's connect similar ideas to try to produce a variety of simple, compound, and complex sentences. To start, we can put these two ideas together and say he died in 1973, so he wouldn't be able to receive the award, but his fans would like to see him honored. Amazing fight scenes and top physical condition seem to be alike and could go together. The idea of almost a perfect body and a great actor can be a little difficult to link, so that's why we decided to mention them in two separate sentences. So, almost perfect body could go alone as a simple sentence, and a great actor can also go alone in a simple sentence. The idea of he was comfortable in front of the camera can be linked to the fact that he started acting at age 6. The expressive face would match this idea. The idea of looked good on film matches with the idea of charming. And the ideas of talented, brilliant, and perfect example of physical fitness can go together in one sentence. Now compare the outline and the paragraph to see how the ideas were put together. Pause your video and play it again when you're finished. Let's take a look at subject-verb agreement now. One of the most common grammar problems for students is agreement between subjects and verbs. The rule itself is quite simple. A verb must agree in number with its subject. If the subject is singular, the verb must be singular. If the subject is plural, the verb must be plural. Usually the verb itself doesn't cause trouble. In fact, the forms for many singular and plural verbs are identical, so they can't cause a mistake in agreement. Yet, English verbs retain one peculiarity that some students find troublesome. You know that an S or an ES ending on a noun makes the noun plural. For example, car, cars, tomato, tomatoes, and so on. Now, although the same would seem to be true for verbs, it isn't. An S or ES ending on a verb makes the verb singular. Look at these examples. We have the plural and the singular. For example, they run, he runs. They go, she goes. And they jump, it jumps. If you understand this difference between verbs and nouns, verbs themselves are not likely to cause you agreement problems. The problems stem from the subjects of the verbs. Most errors in agreement occur because of some difficulty related to the subject of the sentence, particularly in identifying the subject and recognizing the subject's number. Some agreement problems result from difficulties in finding the subject of a sentence. Two sentence structures make identifying the subject particularly troublesome, especially when the subject is delayed, so it isn't where we expect it to be, and when a phrase comes between the subject and the verb, confusing us about the subject's identity. So what is a delayed subject? We can usually find the subject if it comes in its ordinary place, just before the verb. But we may have trouble if it follows the verb. Watch for sentences that open with there or here. These words delay the subject so that it appears after the verb. You'll have to think through such a sentence because you won't know whether the verb should be singular or plural until you get beyond it to the subject. Look at these examples with delayed subjects. There are 3 sailboats at the dock. There is the sailboat with the broken tiller. Here are the supplies you ordered. And here is the box you wanted first. So let's review this. When you see there or here at the beginning of a sentence, you will then see a to be verb and then the subject. So expect to have a delayed subject with there or here. Let's now look at a phrase between subject and verb. Sometimes, even when the subject comes before the verb, where we expect to see it, it is still hard to identify because of a phrase between the subject and the verb. Because of the intervening phrase, we may think a word in the phrase is the subject, or we may think the phrase is part of the subject, making it plural. Let's look at an example in which a word in the phrase might seem to be the subject. One of the coin boys have climbed the water tower. Here, the word boys is so close to the verb that the writer thought it was the subject, but that is incorrect. Boys is simply part of a phrase that comes between the subject and the verb. The real subject is one. Of the coin boys is a prepositional phrase, and then we have the verb. Now let's look at a phrase that might seem to be part of the subject. Martha, as well as her sisters, work in the fields regularly. As well as her sisters seem to be part of the subject. It seems to be equivalent to and her sisters. But it isn't. As well as her sisters is again a prepositional phrase, and it doesn't link to the verb. Here, the subject is Martha, and therefore, to correct this sentence, it should look like this. Martha, as well as her sisters, works in the fields regularly. And in this sentence, one is the subject. So the helping verb have has to be changed to has to make this a correct sentence. So the correct sentence is, one of the coin boys has climbed the water tower. Let's identify some confusing prepositional phrases now. Look at this list of prepositions. As well as, accompanied by, along with, in addition to, including, like, together with, and with. These prepositions sometimes begin phrases that have nothing to do with determining the agreement between a subject and its verb. Let's look at our previous example. Now, how can we find the subject in this example? Mentally, you should eliminate the entire phrase. So, Martha, you should eliminate mentally the rest of the phrase as well as her sisters in your head, and as I said, read the rest. So it would be, Martha works in the fields regularly. The subject is now clear. It's Martha. The problems we just looked at occur because the subject isn't where we expect it. Sometimes, though, we can find the subject and still not know whether it is singular or plural. These rules will help you. Two or more subjects joined by and are almost always plural. The and joins the items, singular, plural, or mixed, into one plural unit. Charlotte and her brothers drive the metallic brown dune buggy. That woman and her husband look a lot alike. If or nor joins subjects, the verb agrees with whichever subject is closer to the verb. Either Beverly or my other aunts have my thanks. Here, because ants is closer to the verb than Beverly is, the verb is plural. Now, what if we reverse the subjects? Either my other aunts or Beverly has my thanks. Now, Beverly is closer, so the verb is singular. Now, a tip on word order. Does either my other aunts or Beverly has my thanks seem awkward to you? I'm talking about this sentence. Does it seem awkward to you? Well, it's technically correct. However, many readers feel uncomfortable when the singular subject, like Beverly, of a mixed singular plural set forces use of a singular verb, like has. The better choice is to put the plural portion of the set closer to the verb, so the verb will be plural. The rule still applies if both items are singular or if both items are plural. If both are singular, naturally a singular subject will be the next to the verb, so the verb is singular. Likewise, if both subjects are plural, a plural subject will be next to the verb, so the verb is plural. Now let's take a look at these words. Some, all, most, part, half, and other fractions may be either singular or plural depending on the phrase that follows them. Now, I told you earlier not to let a phrase between the subject and the verb influence subject-verb agreement. However, that rule has an exception. Here it is. Many times, the words in this list are followed by a phrase beginning with of. All of the jurors, for example, or some of the team. If the main word in the of phrase is plural, the verb should be plural. However, if the main word is singular, but just can't be counted, we wouldn't say 1 milk or 13 tea, for example. The verb should be singular. For example, some of the grapes are still on the table. Now, grapes is plural, so the verb is plural. Look at this other example. Some of the milk is dripping on the floor. Here, milk cannot be counted, so the verb is singular. Now, relative pronouns such as who, whose, whom, which, and that may be singular or plural depending on the word they refer to. Usually, the relative pronoun refers to the word just before it. For example, Jeanette is one of the children who love to read. Who is a pronoun replacing children. Not just one child, but all the children love to read. Again, here comes an exception. What if Jeanette is the only one in the group who loves to read? Then the pronoun who refers to the word one, not the word children. So Jeanette is the only one of the children who loves to read. The exception, then, is that in the phrase the only one, who, which is the relative pronoun, refers to the word one. So the verb must be singular. After all, what can be more singular than one? A collective noun as subject requires a singular verb when the group acts as a unit, but a plural verb when the members of the group act as separate persons or things. A collective noun names a group, like audience, class, committee, family, jury, orchestra, team, and so forth. The key is to determine whether the parts of the group are acting as a single body or as separate entities that are doing the same thing. The jury has been isolated. Look at this. The members of the collective group jury have been separated from the public as a single body, so the verb is singular. Now look at this one. The jury are unable to agree on a verdict. Clearly, the members of the collective group jury are acting as separate individuals because they cannot agree as a unit. So the verb is plural. Now let's look at another agreement problem. Agreement between pronouns and the things they refer to. Pronouns replace nouns or other pronouns in sentences. A pronoun must have something to refer to called the antecedent of the pronoun. Look for the antecedent for his in this sentence. The boy found his dog. Clearly, his refers to boy. So boy is the antecedent for his. The grammar rule that students often find troublesome is this. A pronoun must agree in number with its antecedent. If the antecedent is singular, the pronoun must be singular. If the antecedent is plural, the pronoun must be plural. Because the pronoun's number depends on the antecedent, our attention should be on antecedents. When the antecedent is simple, making the pronoun agree is a simple task. So it would be wrong if you wrote this. The boys looked for his books. Assume all the boys are missing books. Boys is a plural antecedent. So you'd write this sentence like this. The boys looked for their books. Yet, special problems arise with two types of antecedents. Indefinite pronoun antecedents and compound antecedents. What are indefinite pronoun antecedents? The biggest headache connected with pronoun agreement occurs when the antecedent is an indefinite pronoun such as everybody or nobody. We don't need to be concerned here with all indefinite pronouns, but we must look at one problem group. These indefinite pronouns are singular and always require singular pronoun references. Let's take a look at them. Each, everyone, everybody, another, one, either, someone, somebody, no one, neither, anyone, anybody, and nobody. The words formed from one, such as everyone, and from body, such as everybody, often seem plural, but they're not. Try thinking of them as if they had the word single in the middle, like this. Every single one, or every single body. Now, they seem to be singular. Now, an unusual mental block is associated with these indefinite pronouns. Few people would write this. Everyone have a coat. Have just doesn't sound right following everyone. Have is plural, but everyone is singular. Yet, often the same people who recognize everyone as a singular subject have trouble recognizing everyone as a singular antecedent. Far too often, they write this. Everyone has their coat. Has, of course, is correct. The singular verb agrees with the singular subject. But plural their cannot refer to singular everyone. As illogical as this problem seems, it is still common. When we want to refer back to everyone or everybody, and we don't know if everyone is male or female, we use him or her and his or her. But in informal styles, we use plural pronouns like they, their, and them. Now some examples. Everybody has a team leader in charge of him or her. Not everyone has his or her own desk. Everyone has to climb to the top. Has everyone got their coats? And this one was informal. We can use everybody and everyone as the subject of imperative clauses. We use the base form of the verb like, everybody stand up. Now keep in mind that everyone and everybody mean the same. Everyone is a little more formal than everybody. Everyone is used more in writing than everybody. For example, she knew everybody in the room. Could everybody listen for a minute? Now I look at compound antecedents. Compound antecedents may be joined with and, or nor. And the antecedents themselves may be all singular, all plural, or a mixture of singular and plural. The rules for agreement depend on the various combinations of these factors. Two or more antecedents joined by and require a plural pronoun. Whether the antecedents are singular, plural, or mixed makes no difference. The and makes the compound antecedent plural. Check out these examples. John and the other boy found their seats. John and the other boys found their seats. Plural antecedents joined by or nor require a plural pronoun. For example, either the boys or the girls will clean their rooms first. Neither the boys nor the girls want to clean their rooms. Singular pronouns joined by or nor require a singular pronoun. Either the dog or the cat will get its food first. Neither the dog nor the cat will eat its food. When or nor joins a singular antecedent and a plural antecedent, the pronoun agrees with whichever antecedent it is closer to. Neither Freddie nor the other boys like their jobs. The pronoun their agrees with boys. Neither the other boys nor Freddie likes his job. His agrees with Freddie. A reminder about word order and agreement now. Look at this example. Neither the other boys nor Freddie likes his job. This is technically correct, but it may seem awkward. The problem, as well as the solution, is the same as you saw with subject-verb agreements in the previous section. The better choice is to put the plural portion of a singular plural subject closer to both the verb and the pronoun reference, changing the sentence to this: neither Freddie nor the other boys like their jobs. Pronouns and your writing now. When we talk, we all know automatically when to use first-person pronouns like I and we. Also second-person pronouns like you and yours. And third-person pronouns like he, she, it, and they. For decades, however, academic and business writing commonly used almost entirely third-person pronouns. Today, that practice is disappearing. For example, you may have noticed that we use first and second person throughout many books.